Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Old Man Brad. I am here with the first in a new series that I'm going to do over here on the podcast. A series called Versus, where we take the original horror movie versus the remake / reboot, and then we battle it out to a winner takes all.
Battle?
Yeah, a battle.
There isn't even a contest this time.
I know. Every episode I will have a new guest to help me with this battle.
I thought I got to be the guest.
You were my first.
I want to be the always.
Well, there'll be other guests too. You got to share.
I want to share.
My first guest, and a guest that will come on more times than once to help me talk the 1986 April Fool's Day and the 2008 April Fool's Day. My wife, Kara, is here.
I'm smiling real cheesy.
She had never seen either of these films before we did this. So I'm excited. We haven't talked about these since watching them. So I'm excited to hear your thoughts on both films and compare.
I have lots of thoughts.
So to explain what we're going to do each episode, we're going to briefly talk about each movie, kind of give our kind of quick little thoughts, what we thought about just that movie itself. And then after that, we'll kind of compare and contrast each one. Which version did certain things better, what changed in, say, the remake. And then we will rate each one out of 100. And then the total score between us for each movie, whoever scores higher, that's what movie wins for the week.
I don't like your ranking system.
Why?
You and I rank things exceptionally differently.
I know. That's why this is fun. Maybe I like the remake better. I don't know. It could win.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I just think 100 is a bit much.
Why is that a bit much?
Normally you rank things out of 5 stars. From 5 to
10.
Okay. 100.
Yeah.
We're not even going to get into... We'll get into it later.
But after we will total scores, combined scores for each film, whichever scores higher, that's what movie wins. Okay?
Sure.
Even though you disagree with this ranking system.
I'd like to go on the record. I wholeheartedly disagree with his scoring and ranking system because there is no continuity or clarity for what we're scoring.
We're scoring what we thought of the movie out of 100. So if you want to take that by 10 and then multiply it by 10, that's your score.
That just leaves a whole lot of interpretation of what we thought of the movie, Mr. I've never seen anything less than a 3-star movie.
Oh, I've seen plenty less than a 3-star movie, let me tell you.
But you still give them 3 stars because you're nice.
No, I just gave 2 1-stars this week, so there.
I feel sorry for those movies.
You should, because they were not good. All right, let's kick things off with the original April Fool's Day from 1986. 9 college students staying at a friend's remote island mansion begin to fall victim to an unseen murderer over the April Fool's Day weekend. But nothing is as it seems. This was directed by Fred Walton, starring Deborah Foreman, Griffin O'Neill, Clayton Rohner, and many others. Came out in 1986. And you had not seen this before. As we were watching it, I was like, have I seen this one? I didn't remember. I knew how the ending was going to be. I do remember that. But it's one of those like, have I seen it? Or has it been that long that I just didn't remember much of it, really? So what did you, as a first-time viewer of this movie, what did you think?
It started off strong. They went directly into, I knew what I was getting, even though I went in with zero knowledge. I had it's an April Fool's thing, so there's obviously a joke, and I know it's a horror film. I also know it's an 80s horror film, which right there gives me a little bit of information. There will be a gratuitous boob shot. It
is the 80s.
Exactly. Yes. Like, I knew what I was getting into. They started off strong. They started off fun. They told me about the main character through the other characters immediately. Mm-hmm. The scene on the dock, well played out. I had no idea that it was a fake stabbing. By the way, are we doing spoilers?
Yes, we'll we'll get into full spoilers just so people will make them aware. Like, spoiler warning, we will spoil the movie. We're going to dig into the movies. So if you haven't seen either of them, April Fool's Day, 1986.
Honestly, if you haven't seen either of them, bad on you and just deal with the spoilers.
Well, not bad on you for, we'll get into that part.
Not bad on you. Just, you've had plenty of time. We're going on almost 20 years for the most recent one.
Yes. But we will get into spoilers, just forewarned.
So I was truly taken aback by that.
By the twist at the end?
No. On the dock scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the twist at the end that it was a joke.
Yeah.
And then the other guy dying. You know, like it was like a right off the bat, like, oh, here, I can jump in and get it. No big deal. Uh-huh. And then all of a sudden it took this really, really dark turn. And this whole group of kids now, this part I find improbable, still head to said mansion for their weekend of fun after some dude just got maimed.
And his eyeball was hanging out.
And heading, they're taking him back, which again, obviously they're taking him back, but I don't know. I just don't really feel like you'd get off to a weekend of great fun having just witnessed a whole lot of gore.
Yeah.
And knowing that, oh my gosh, like this guy was in here because of our prank. Now, them trying to make it out like it was their fault, that was stupid and crap because it wasn't their fault.
After you find out that it was, it is one of those, you're like, wow, he really got that makeup for the eyeball hanging out on pretty fast while he's in the water.
While he's in the water, yes. Mm-hmm. And very realistic. I mean, for 80s makeup.
Yeah.
Very realistic.
Yeah. He's in the water, he slaps us on his face, and they pull him out of the water, and it still stayed on, and nobody...
For those who haven't seen the movie, he supposedly has like something go through his eye and smash him against a dock. I'm really not sure why it was just that side of his face, but...
The little fairy came at him. I think it was supposed to be it pushed him into the dock and then something like scraped and poked his eyeball out.
Okay. From my vantage point, it looked like it just would have smushed him.
But the way it was happening, it was almost like slow motion as the fairies come and he's like, no, when he could have just swam under the dock.
That was my thought process the whole time. I was like, why aren't you just going under the dock? Why are you being an idiot and consistently trying to throw the rope? Why not just push the boat back? As a person who's been on a boat, you can push it off the dock pretty easily.
Well, but this is a pretty large boat. It'd be a little harder to do that.
Okay, then let the rope go and just let it bounce off the dock.
But then they couldn't have set up this whole
thing. Anyhow, they go to the mansion, which you already know is being prepped for by this young woman, that she's having a party with people over. Muffy.
The perfect rich girl name. Her name is Muffy.
Fun fact, in my physiology class in college, in my lab partners were Muffy, Mitzi, and Buffy.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So you've known a Muffy and a Buffy.
And a Mitzi.
They
were sorority sisters. I was not. SEC showing up strong.
Did they ever say if this Muffy was a sorority sister? I know that there was like...
I think they did.
Okay.
I think they talked briefly about the house she was in. I feel like that was mentioned by, was it Ava?
The main girl that basically had the joke played on her.
The one who ended up in the well.
That was Nan, or Nan.
Nan, that's it. I knew it was a 3-letter name, Nan. Yeah. I feel like I thought Nan mentioned something about it because she was talking about the theatrical performance she saw her in and how great she was. And then I thought she mentioned something about her sorority house.
And there was, this group of friends she knew from school, and not all of them knew each other before they were going over. A few of them did, and then some of them I had a class with her, or I had this with her, and we're coming to this party.
Correct.
So it added a whole different dynamic to that. And it was cool seeing Tom Wilson, who played Biff in Back to the Future.
Yes. Also, fun fact, Brad is gone as Biff from Back to the Future on Halloween.
I have.
He even shaved off the beard.
And in the main girl who the joke gets played by Amy Steele, horror fans would know her from Friday the 13th Part 2. She is the final girl in that film. I know you were like, okay.
Yep.
Overall, did you enjoy?
I did. Here is my overall take with this one. This one felt very on the mark with an 80s horror film.
Yes.
They did a great job of setting various things up. Each of the kills was done in a pretty, I'll go with typical way, but each one was different. You weren't really expecting any one of them.
They set it up
happen.
like a slasher, and then you kind of get like they figure out this twist.
I also felt like it was a little, and now maybe this did come out before it. I don't know. You can fact check this. It felt a little bit like Clue.
Yeah, Clue came out in 1985, so year before.
It felt not totally the same as that, but reminiscent of that, and the fact that it was like, oh my gosh, who's doing this?
Whodunit, yeah.
Whodunit. We're all in the same area. We're not going anywhere. And everybody pointing the fingers at everybody else. It was campy. It was fun. It had a few good jump scares.
Because there was clues set up for every person too. Like the baby crying in the closet, the newspaper clippings for somebody, and what were some of the others? But there were like little clues.
The Barbies set up in the attic, the eyes in the frame that were the cat.
That was kind of creepy with the with the
it was
clock.
The cat. Yeah, it was the cat, and then it became the eyes of Muffy Buffy. Yeah, as they're trying to figure out what's going on, and they find out it's a twin sister, but it doesn't end up being a twin sister. And I'll add that
part of the game.
Muffy Buffy, or does she have a Buffy Muffy? Who knows? She actually did act very, very well.
And when you find out she is Buffy, she's more of like the crazy sister that got.
Well, that's what I mean. Like she does a great job of going from a coiffed, reserved / I'm really put together young woman who's got this all under control to somebody who looks unhinged, unkept, and psychotic.
Yeah. No, overall, this is, it's a classic that everybody loves, and it's one that's just, popular out there. So,
I enjoy it. And the reveal at the end where you find out, okay, this whole thing was a joke. Everyone was in on it. Done exceptionally well.
Because there's even little jokes along the way. As they're doing this dinner party, breakaway chairs and leaky cups and all these little like
silly things, April Fool's things that are silly. And she alludes to it. And it's just set up to be fun. And it's a group of people out there to have a good time. So the people that it was being played on, but then you get to the very, very last scene of the movie. And the creepy Jack in the Box comes back.
Yes.
And it just cuts to her getting her throat slit.
But then not.
Like
a joke within a joke.
Yeah.
Within more jokes.
And I still want to know, was that Nan?
I thought it was, but I could be wrong.
I don't know.
So out of my scoring system that you don't like, what would you give this original one out of?
It's a solid B.
A solid B would be what, an 80?
That's a low B. I'm going to go 85.
85.
Solid B.
Solid B, okay.
Solid B for an 80s horror flick.
Okay. For me, it's probably just a little lower, an 80.
Okay.
Just because I enjoy it, but it's one of those in the 80s. There are many others I like a little bit more than this, so that's why it's solid. It's still a solid movie.
Sure.
Then we're going to move on to the the
Can I
reboot.
say my piece first here?
Well, we'll get into the next movie here in a second. I know you have thoughts. While we were watching it, you were like, I have thoughts. Now we're going to move to I guess it would be a reimagining, reboot, remake of April Fool's Day, because there are a lot of changes that they did with this one. But let's move into April Fool's Day from 2008. A year after an April Fool's Day prank, which resulted in the death of one of their set, a group of friends find themselves targeted by someone who is out for revenge. This is directed by Mitchell Altieri and Phil Flores, and starring Taylor Cole, Josh Henderson, Scout Taylor Compton, and many others. This came out in 2008. This was a direct-to-DVD
Was it ever?
movie. So, what did you think of April Fool's Day?
It may have had the same name, and it may have had some pranks in it. It is not even close to a remake of a movie because the storyline has completely changed. For example, how many times has Halloween been remade? I know you know this off the top of your head.
Well, I mean, remake just the once, Rob Zombie. Every other one's been just different versions or different pieces off of the original.
However, the story remains more or less the same, correct?
More or less, yeah.
Yeah, like you have your artistic differences, you have your little spin on it. This is not the same story. Not even close. It happens on April Fool's Day. That is as close as you get.
Well, and they have the rich kids. It's in a mansion. There are little pieces they pull from the original, like the kid with the video camera, because we have the kid with the video camera in the original one doing little stories. And that was about it.
Real thin, Brad. I would like to know, one, this is shot in 2007. Why do they have these people dressed like they are hookers from 1984? Two, for a quote-unquote rich society, why is this the saddest mansion I have ever seen? Because it may have a lot of rooms, but there ain't nothing in any of these rooms. Also, what mansion do you know that has all of the bedrooms opening up into a courtyard so everybody can see what's going on? That also only fit a bed in the rooms.
And as big as this party in gala and whatever it's supposed to be, there was one poor little butler guy that I think was running it all.
No. There were two.
There was
one person running it, but there were other people out with trays. 3, and this is just in the realm of ain't ever gonna happen. They're not letting the gossip magazine guy into the party.
No.
Period.
And if he did show up, somebody would have escorted him out.
4, you're gonna go with Cartier as the last name. Really? That's the last name you're going with? They're the Kennedys of South Carolina.
They are.
Oh, come on.
And this one, there is an actual death in, well, there's 2 deaths in this movie, but the first one, it's, was it Mindy? Is that who it was?
No, Milan. It should be noted, Milan made exactly 3 movies, and there's a reason why.
And Desiree, who is one of the Cartiers.
She is the main character.
She does not like Milan.
Desiree now resides strictly on the Hallmark Channel.
Yes.
Go check her out.
Yes.
Or don't.
But she tries to set her up to try to videotape something to kind of destroy her. So she gets roofied. Her brother is seducing her, but she did not set up that piece of it. And she has a seizure, falls off the balcony.
No. Her brother seducing her, she did set up. It's the seizure that she didn't know would happen.
Yeah, she didn't know that would happen.
Right.
I thought he was just trying to seduce her, not. Oh, I guess it does come out at the end, doesn't it?
Well, no, she asked him to do it. Do you not remember that whole scene by the stairs where she's like, just stick to the plan?
Yeah. But she has a seizure after they roofie her off the drugs they gave her, and then which was a weird scene. And then she falls off of the balcony.
Also, not a seizure. But whatever.
The camera work was really weird because it's like this weird fade, and then she just convulses for a second and then falls off the balcony.
I don't even know that was a convulse so much as every now and then you're seeing through her eyes how things are getting blurry.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. Hey, we're seeing through her eyes again that things are getting blurry. Oh. Hey, somebody grab her. Watch her go off of the balcony. She had to go 4 feet.
Yeah.
And somebody was less
blood everywhere.
And somebody was less than 20 inches from her and could have reached their arm out and grabbed her.
They could have, but they didn't.
No, they didn't.
But then they go to court for this big thing, and Desiree's brother, Blaine, he is the control of the trust fund, but it gets taken away from him.
Because mom and dad have passed away and left their trust fund orphan babies.
He gets the trust fund taken away from her, and Desiree is now in control. And then we go to a year later.
And they get an invitation that says, come to Milan's grave at noon. I have proof.
Yeah. And then it turns into this wannabe, like, I know what you did last summer.
But not executed one.
No. It was so movie of the week.
Disjointed? Oh, I've seen better after school specials.
I've seen better straight to video movies. This one was just soap opera-y in many parts, and then other parts I'm like, what are you trying to do here?
Because regardless of what was a prank or not, Ryan Dude and all of his tapes, creepy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just straight up creepy. Even if that was supposed to be part of the prank, still creepy.
He's the kid with the camera is a creeper that films the other
from
girls.
The wrong side of the town.
No, it's true. He's not one of the rich kids, right?
Right. He lives on Smith Street. We don't know anyone who lives on Smith Street. Ryan did it.
But the first one to die was the gossip guy, the gossip magazine guy. And then, they were like, oh, he's dead. That scene where she falls in the pool he falls in the pool with the dead body. Just cracked me up because he's all like grayed body on this float.
Him falling into the pool as a grown man to save a stuffed dog, and then not being able to get out when the pool can't be more than 6 feet.
Oh, probably not.
Strong push from the bottom because he did manage to go down, dive down, and get the dog.
Yeah, he got the dog and came back up.
Which tells me he knows the basics of swimming because he dove down and got the dog.
Came back up, and then it was a stuffed dog he throws in and is like, oh my God.
No, I'm drowning. I'm going to die. Pathetic.
There is so...
And they kept making fun of him for being overly tan. In the first scene, he did not seem overly tan. He does get progressively more orange throughout the movie.
He does, especially at the end in the again, it's spoilers, but just like the first one, they have the twist that, oh, this was all a joke. Haha.
But not.
It was to set her up. And then, she ends up dying because someone had loaded the gun with there was a gun with blanks. And then someone had loaded the gun with a real one, and they shot her in the head, Desiree in the head. I was like, holy crap. I knew going in that this movie was terrible. And I was just watching you through this movie. I was like, this movie is awful. So I know she's going to have thoughts on this.
Back to the other one momentarily.
No, we can jump back and forth between the two.
So on the other one, there is a point in the woods where he gets strung up and there's a snake trying to get him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they actually address that at the end, and they say, I mean, obviously there were things we couldn't account for, and they listed something else. They're like, the snake. We are so sorry that was never supposed to be there.
The most fake snake coming up out of a bush.
In the entire world. Again, snake would have gone long before.
Yeah.
Then in this one, and there's parties like, is this supposed to be their little tribute to the original? Everybody who walked past the craft services table, they tried to get him with a snake.
I bet it was. 100% I bet that was like their little like tribute to that. I know there are a couple pieces where they kind of rework the original score and throw it into this new one.
Because I can honestly say I didn't notice that.
Well, it's because you're just looking at this movie going, oh my God.
Well, no. You got to remember, this movie started with like the creepy, we're going to have like the ominous music vibes as we're panning in on a well-lit, very pretty, gorgeous mansion from the outside.
And it looks like a made-for-TV movie.
It does.
Like there's no suspense in this.
At all.
When there are deaths, you're just like,
cool.
Yeah. All right.
There's a death.
I think the only one when they, air quotes here, kill the camera kid. like slice his throat as someone goes by. That was good.
His acting and saying
No.
Milan is just about as bad as Natalie Portman's.
I knew that was coming.
For the love.
Or the van chase in the parking garage.
Again, you're in a freaking parking garage. Hide behind a massive concrete pillar. They can't hit you.
She's running with boots, with high heel boots, running from this van.
And let's not forget that the other guy gets plowed down, whom I will add is either the best actor ever or the worst actor ever.
Oh, he wasn't good.
Because it takes a lot to have that little personality.
Oh, he was not good. I don't think really anybody in this movie, like Scout Taylor Compton might have been the best one, and she wasn't that great in it. She plays an actress that does a horror movie actress who in this whole setup pretends that she's Milan, like puts on a wig and is kind of trying to fool Desiree to think Milan is still alive. And then in the end, it becomes that they were all trying to trick Desiree into admitting she was the one that killed Milan.
However, I believe it was all orchestrated by Blaine, and he did it from the standpoint of, look, this will clear all of us. We can all get our lives back.
And he'll get his trust fund back.
And he just wanted his trust fund back. And if he gets rid of her, he gets the full thing.
Which, the way it ended, that's exactly what you think, because he's got her car and he does this little smirk as he's driving away. And you're
the other
like,
thing that doesn't make a ton of sense, I mean, it makes a little sense because they're like, Master Blaine made me do this trick or whatever
with the butler?
At the beginning. But then throughout the whole thing, they talk about how Desiree does all these pranks, and you never find out a single one that she's ever done.
No, there were no real pranks throughout except for the cutting the finger off.
And she didn't set that one up. She got ticked that one happened.
Yeah.
So there's a big disconnect, unless that was supposed to be a little Easter egg that let us know Blaine was behind the whole thing the whole time. But realistically, I think they needed to do something to be like, oh, Desiree's done this, or let's have a memory of this or of this, as opposed to the first 30 minutes was this damn debutante ball that was the most asinine thing ever. We're going to have a champagne toast. Oh, honey, you can't toast yourself.
So I some of the questions that we were going to do in this series, one is, did the remake improve upon any ideas in the original?
We've already discussed that this is not a remake. This is a movie with the same name.
I know you'll have thoughts on this. Anything you would have done differently as far as the remake? Actually made it similar to the original?
Let's have it follow something similar to the original. For example,
instead of just little, oh, look,
for example,
this was in the original.
They could have had the same setting. And then they could have had Milan, quote unquote, die. But the reality is that the police come in, no one can leave. Okay?
Yeah.
And then the whole night is simply them figuring out who killed Milan and these other people being like, whacked off.
Oh, doing it the original night, not a year later.
Doing it the original night and letting the whole thing unfold. That's at least closer to what happened.
Yeah.
Is it perfect? No. But it would then set up the idea that it was April Fool's Day, because this other one actually starts the day before April Fool's Day. Also, let's just talk costuming. It was horrible. Anybody with eyes could have done better.
But Desiree matched. She had a red dress, a red car, a red phone.
It was maroon.
Oh, maroon. Okay.
And they were varying shades of maroon. They weren't even good. Then let's talk hairstyles. What the actual hell?
Isn't that what hairstyles were in 2007/8?
No. I know no high-class people in 2007 who had this slick down, I don't even know what you want to call it.
Her hair?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that was going on.
Yeah, exactly. No one does.
But how many high-end people did you know in 2007, 2008?
Remember where I worked? Do you remember where I worked?
I do.
Okay. So that
with
stated
Muffy,
I knew
Mitzi, and Buffy.
Muffy, Mitzi, and Buffy. I did actually know another Buffy then. as well, too.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. And lots and lots and lots of money and high-class people.
I know the answer to this. Did this need to be remade?
No. Could it be remade and remade well? Absolutely. And I think it could be really fun.
It could.
Did this remake need to happen? No. This was stupid.
I'm wondering if when they were making this, if it was originally intended as an April Fool's Day film, or it was the story of this rich friends kind of like
the fall of like this socialite.
Yeah. And they were like, well, let's just set it on April Fool's Day and we'll just call it April Fool's Day. And we'll put some plugs of the original in there. Just some little nods.
Could be.
All right. Do you have any other just things you want to talk about April Fool's Day? Whether the original or this air quotes remake?
I think that we have made an error.
We have made? Okay.
Because while I was sitting as we were watching the remake, looking on IMDb going, where do I know this person from? Oh, that's why I know this person. Oh, look, she never made any other movies. That makes a lot of sense. I found that there is another April Fool's Day in 1964.
Yeah, I don't know if it has anything to do with those.
I don't either, but I feel like we should have done better research ahead of time and been like, there's actually been 3.
Yeah, there is an April Fool's, a film listed as April Fool's Day from 1954.
Okay.
Another one, there's a bunch just listed as April Fool's Day. I don't know if any of them have anything to do with this story.
I don't either.
So the one from 1954, I think it's a French film.
Ooh la la.
Yeah, it's about a mechanic in a garage. Each month a share of his salary to buy his wife a washing machine. Fortunately, he is twisted by a salesman who makes him buy an ultra-modern fishing tackle.
One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah. So this has nothing to do with that at all. But there is one called April Fool's Day from 1954. I think didn't I see one that was like from 1969?
You did. Something like that.
Oh, the April Fool. It was from 1985.
Okay, right, then maybe we didn't make a great error.
Well, that is in my notes for, other versions, but I didn't look at those other versions, so my research sucked on this. This is the first episode. I'm working out the kinks here. So what would you rate 2008's April Fool's Day?
I'm going to be really generous and give it a 30%.
Wow, you are very generous. I'm not as generous as you are.
Being very generous.
My rating is a 15. This movie just plain kind of sucks. Like, let's be honest.
It's about an hour too long.
And it's only 90 minutes.
It was the longest 90 minutes of my life. It was longer than the original, what's the Winnie the Pooh movie?
Blood and Honey?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know you didn't like the first one.
No. There were parts of it that I found highly entertaining.
Yes.
Highly entertaining.
Like the first 30 minutes and you're like, okay.
Well, no. There were some kills. And like I said, entertaining. I could laugh at a lot of it.
Well, this April Fool's Day is the 2008 one. Is one that I think you could easily make fun of throughout.
Oh, like without a
100%.
Doubt. There should be a drinking game dedicated to this.
Oh, I bet if we researched it, I'm sure there's something out there.
Every time there's an error in anything. Because the number, like, oh my gosh, Milan's beside me in the van. She's going to see me. Are you kidding me right now?
And you could tell that was just some dude with a wig on and sunglasses.
Yes, you could. There are so many issues with this movie. I will give it props. It didn't kill off the dog.
It didn't.
It could have killed off the dog, and they did not. In fact, they took the dog and said, well, we can't leave it.
See, 2 people died in this film. The original didn't have, ultimately in the end, nobody died.
Yeah, no one did.
It was all a joke. This one started with a death and it ended with a death.
And all of it being a joke made it better.
The original?
Yeah.
Yes.
And they talked through like, but how did you? And it's like, hey, I'm the cousin. Hey.
Yeah.
These are my people from theater. Da, 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 da.
Yeah. And this one was like, I'm just rich trying to get back at you to get my money back.
I kind of think that they were trying to do Cruel Intentions, but they just couldn't.
Overwhelming in the scoring, the original wins.
Again, they aren't even remotely the same movie. They have a name that's the same,
They have a name,
but
and
they might
have
as
some
well
rich...
be the dude who is getting a tackle box instead of a washing machine.
So for the first versus April Fool's Day 1986 versus April Fool's Day 2008, the original wins by a landslide. It was our total score 165-45.
And again, I was generous.
You were. It probably could have been worse.
Oh, it could have been so much worse.
You said you were generous. What did you really want to give it? Probably a 15?
Like a 2. No. I would have probably given it a 10 or a 15.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
So you can omit ever watching the 2008 version. Watch the 1986 version because it was far better.
It's far better and it's just fun.
Yes.
You're getting a solid 80s horror film.
Thanks for coming on the first Versus episode on Old Man Brad. I hope you'll come back for more.
I will, because I thought I was anyways. Then I found out I had to share.
Yes, you have to share. I'm sorry. I just,
you control the programming. I don't have to share.
If you saw the list that I have, I think sharing is good. I think you'd get sick of it after a while. You might.
Likely.
Well, that would do it for the first Versus this series over here on Old Man Brad. Thank you so much for listening. Just make sure you subscribe and you'll never miss any of these. Actually, you're going to miss them all because this is Old Man Brad's last episode ever. April Fools, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.